Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Now with the NDA being next week, I'm only allowed to do previews at the moment, so I am going through all of the X299 boards that I can get my hands on, or that as and when they're arriving, I'm making previews for you so that you can get a little bit of a jump on the content that's going to be coming next week. Now there has been a lot of negativeness about the fact that they aren't the X299 AMD boards. They're not due out until later in the summer. When I get those, I will be all over those as well. It's a bit sad because a lot of people are telling me to not bother with the X299 stuff. Well, to be honest with you, if I didn't bother with the X299 stuff, then the Intel fanboys would say I'd been paid off by AMD. If I did it the other way around, it's the same way. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing my job as a reviewer, but when we do get to the X299 and the actual CPU reviews, I do have some thoughts and feelings that I would like to share with you. Maybe not as extreme and, you know, kind of like one-sided as some of the stuff that other people may have said. Hoping I'm going to find a little bit more balance there, and yeah, yes, I'm just going to stop, otherwise I get myself into trouble. But anyway, so I have the Asus X299 Deluxe. Now I like the Deluxe stuff because, let's face it, I like white and I like white in my rig, but I've also been using the Deluxe boards both in the, we'll call the higher end stuff, so the X299 stuff in my rigs for a long time, and I've also been running my server off of the lower end kind of mid-range Deluxes for a good while as well. I was actually a bit disappointed we didn't get a Z270 Deluxe. But anyway, so yes, the board is all pretty full and she's out on display at the moment. Now, because of NDAs, I'm not allowed to show you it powered up, but there are certain bits on here that we do need to talk about, and you'll see them better powered up when we do the main review. We'll show you what some of the stuff that's in the box though, because at the end of the day, it is kind of not hard to get into, but anyway. You always do get a lot of stuff in the DLX boxes. I'm happy to say that there's a bit less than normal because sometimes it's just ridiculous the amount that they cram in. Anyway, we got Thunderbolt 3 add-in card here. So you've got your mini display port in on this one. You've got USB Type-C, Thunderbolt 3, USB 3.1 Type A there. There is also a mini display port to full-size DisplayPort adapter cable going on. There's quite a few SATA cables, but then again that's kind of normal, but you do get some thermal probes as well, which a lot of people will absolutely love, the fact that you get extra thermal probes to plug in. You get your SLI bridge, and it's a three-way SLI bridge there as well. I couldn't find a two-way one in the box at all. This is something that a lot of people ask about, because normally people end up wanting to buy this add-in card. So you clip this in, there's a header on the board, and it gives you a load more PWM headers that you can plug in. Could be handy for water cooling and that sort of stuff if you want to use it. Then you've got two antennas, which you'll see the connections for on the back of the board in a minute. And as you can see, they're fairly big for a motherboard. You know what I mean? They're going to be quite massive. If you were to put them on your case at the back, they almost look like the weird ear things on the top of Optimus Prime when he's transformed. Not as a truck, because obviously they would be stacked. But you know when he's there and he's got those weird fin... Yeah, you know the ones I mean. Anyway, fairly plain I/O card for the back. You can see that there are stripes on it. When you're further away, it just looks silver, but there are stripes on it. But it's just soft touch on the back. There's obviously a lot going on it, but it doesn't light up, doesn't do anything mental. Here's your two-way SLI bridge that I was being a doofus about before. There is a vertical M.2 stand as well. Now, something I do a lot of in my videos, and I know quite a few people that have got the kits now, is this is a Cable Mods voucher code. So get ready. One thing I can say is this code can only be used once. So if you're going to use it, you're going to have to jump on it quick, because otherwise somebody else will. So get ready. There's your Cable Mod voucher code. If you do end up using this and buying a set, I would love to see pictures on the forums or post pictures or something. I'm genuinely interested to, you know, what you do with them. And then you get your manual, get a driver CD. There's another booklet in this side. about your Thunderbolt 3 guide. And that's about it in the box. Now the reason why the box is all messy is because I've already taken pictures for the website and I had to open everything up. So that is that reason. Okay, so we talked about the external fan header that is on here. Now the things I wanted to talk to you about lighting up is this is actually an OLED display which you can display CPU temperatures, CPU volts, all kinds of stuff going on underneath that. There's also a little panel here, you can see, now this is a lighting panel that the colours can all be set and it's all kind of funky. There's another one up here as well, you can see it underneath there, what we'll call a two-way mirror. So there's some funky lighting stuff on it. Now like I said, I can't show you it lit up. With some of the motherboards I've got a magic cable I can plug in which powers the lights, but the Asus doesn't have the header for it. So we will move around and about and go around what we can see and talk to you about today. So you've got a CPU fan header here and a CPU optional fan header here with an RGB header. And then down here you have chassis fan 2, but then there's the AIO pump header over here. So if you end up having to use this AIO pump header, please wrap all your cables around, tuck them in down there, and then if your header's up here, you know, wrap it all around, keep it all tidy, don't just be, you know, messy with it. Get a nice board like this, spend a bit of time with your cabling. Then up at the top you've got an 8-pin CPU and a 4-pin. Concentrate on the 8 first. 9 times out of 10 you'll never need to use this, it's just there. Up in this corner you can see that you've got the boot, VGA and DRAM. Now these light up as it's going through the post process, and if it stalls on one then you have an idea about what the problem could be. Do you know what I mean? If you're overclocking and all that sort of stuff. Coming down, we will talk about this M.2 slot in a sec. USB 3.1 front panel header, chassis fan 1. When we come around here, we've got a horizontal USB 3, which is nice, helps keep stuff tidy. 6 SATAs, then you've got a U.2 at the bottom. Down here there's a water pump header. Now the difference between the water pump header and the AIO pump header. The AIO pump, this one here, is 2 amps. This is 3 amps, I do believe. It's either that, or I could be 100% wrong, and because I'm now doubting myself. This might be 1 amps, and this might be 2 amps. I will clarify in the main review. I've done so many boards with different amperage headers, I'm having a on-camera brain fart, but I will sort it out for you in the main review. When we get down the bottom, got another fan header here. This actually is calling itself the M.2 fan, and this is so that if you wanted to direct a fan over something, you can do, and it's there, and it's easily, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're going through the fan software, you can notify it easier, find it easier. You've got Thunderbolt header here, you've got another SATA here, vertical USB 3 here. There's only one USB 2, which I'm a little bit like about, because most of the other ones I've seen have got 2. But if you've only got 1 and you need more than one USB 2 header, there are lots of USB 2 hubs now. NZXT do a couple, for example. It's well worth grabbing one. Clear Cmos, Memo K. Never really used Memo K, but it's clear Cmos, yes. Poster readout for when your system's posting. That's obviously always very handy, especially when you're overclocking or you might have an issue. It helps you kind of work it out. The codes that come out on this, you can find the numbers in your manual. Power and reset on board, fairly basic. It's at the bottom, but let's face it, they are handy. Audio up the side. We will talk about the crystal sound and the full specs and stuff in the main review. And then when we come around the back, you can see the antennas that I spoke to you about. You've got the BIOS up at the back here. Press and hold it, BIOS flashback, lovely, lovely. Twin gigabit LAN, not 10 GBE. You've got a load of SATA ports, you've got USB 3.1, you've got a C port here, you've still got some USB 2, which is still genuinely handy. There's a decent amount of USB ports on the back, but something that I've been doing for a while now is I've got a USB 3 hub. So I only have one USB cable going into the back of my rig, and then that comes out, goes a big long cable comes out and goes along underneath my middle monitor, and then I've got a USB 3 hub there, and I wire them all into that, and it just means you can clean up the cables in the back of your rig. And then the audio at the back, the audio, I've got to admit, it doesn't, the connectors and all that sort of stuff, they look fairly generic. There's nothing like shouting out special about those. When we come round the back though, or around the main side I should say, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 phases across the top. Fairly clean around the socket area as well. We've not got any sort of like fan headers in silly places or anything like that. There is a nice gap up this side for you to be able to put fan cables should you want. If you need to get them over to here, what I would probably end up doing is going over, down around the back, and then back up the top. You can get them around there if you want, but you're probably going to have a lot of slack. So going round and that way will mean you might be able to lose some of the cable to tidy up your rig. Really now what we need to do is have a look at the SSDs. With the heatsink unscrewed, you can see our hidden M.2 connector there. On the back of the heatsink itself as well, it does have a thermal pad, so it will help to transfer the heat into the heatsink better. Now I have tested heatsinks for M.2s in the past, and just a simple piece of metal over the top to help wick away some of the heat has been dropping some of the hotter M.2s by 10 degrees. So I don't see any reason why this shouldn't perform somewhere similar to that. It's definitely better than just having it open. Also, unless you're running SLI, which you could be, but if you've just got a single graphics card in here, then it's plenty away from the top graphic as well. If you are running SLI and it's on air, then the second card, which will be in this slot, will be getting the cool air from the bottom. So it shouldn't, it's still obviously going to make a difference, but it's the better card to be underneath out of the two. Your other choice is the vertical M.2 slot. And yes, it does look weird. And they did this with the last two X99 Deluxes. There's the X99 Deluxe and the X99 Deluxe 2. And I use personally the X99 Deluxe 2, and I use the vertical slot as well. And one of the things I can say is when it is in your case like this, it does seem to blend in with everything else and you stop seeing it stuck out so much. But one of the things I did notice is I've got an AIO in the front of my case, so it's kind of over this way. And the direct airflow onto the M.2 does actually help with temperatures as well, because you have quite a big bit of surface area with the M.2 stuck out. And I've noticed that it was dropping about 6 degrees off of my M.2. Even just with, you know, casual use, it was making a decent difference. The only thing I don't particularly like about this one is this is the normal length of a normal M.2, which is 80mm, and this one goes right the way up to 110, so this is your long M.2 mount. And I think if I was going to be running this personally in my own rig, I'd end up getting my Dremel out and chopping the top off of it, because otherwise my M.2 would stop here and I'd still have the rest of this stuck out. So again, that is something you can think about. You can get heat sinks to clip onto your M.2 as well. Aqua Computer do them. They're not, you can use them with dual-sided ones, but they tell you not to. You just have to be really careful about how you mount them. But for something like a Samsung 960, they clip on absolutely fine without any worries. And even that on there as well, you could drop your temps even more, because you'd have a decent sized heatsink on it. And then you could have the case airflow helping to cool your M.2 as well. So may not be the prettiest thing, and where it's different, a lot of people go against it, but there are some decent reasons for using it. So that is our look around the Asus Prime X299 Deluxe. There's actually a little bit less white on there than I was expecting. I can see things on this already that I would like to kind of make a weekend project out of, but I'm going to save those little ideas for you for when we do the main review, which is likely to be at some point next week, as long as I can get enough done. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this board specifically underneath. Save the X299 chat though. We can talk about that in a proper video for that one. But if you've got any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear underneath, or you can come and join us in the conversations on the OC3D forums. There's a good old family of boys there if you would like to come and have a chinwag with like-minded people. But for now, at least, with another X299 preview, this is Tiny Tom Logan.